like as a number, it's quite a lot, Scott. By the way.
Is it? I don't know.
Let me put it into context. You'll understand. Imagine 37,000 donuts.
That I've probably eaten about that many. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Huh.
And imagine how long that'll last.
Well, 37,000. How many in a day? Because it takes like 3 days, right? So it's like one every 3 days. So it like really expands how long it takes to digest, or is it like 5 or 6 in one day, then the next day 5 or 6? Oh, that
But you have to have break days for bowel rest days.
Yeah. Oh God.
Also, you have to visit the hospital for the diabetes you'll get.
I mean, I'm surprised I don't have diabetes yet, and I don't even like. I don't mean to make that a joke, even though I kind of say it jokingly, because like legitimately, I'm trying to do no sugar November, and I keep breaking down. Like real bad.
You're doing NNN.
Yeah. That. Is that the chemical composition for diabetes?
No, that's No Nut November. Come on, let's go.
No Nut November? Is that what I?
Don't Google it.
Are you referring to what I think
Google
you're
it.
saying?
Don't
not
Google it.
Don't Google it.
Why would I ever do that intentionally?
The original like idea was a joke, but it was actually a joke with a good reason behind it.
By the end of it, you can lift a car.
No, the original reason was
Because the extra testosterone.
It was talking about prostate cancer originally.
Yeah.
But that
it's
went
like
away
Movember.
very
It's
quickly.
like Movember.
That went away very quickly.
Yeah,
and
I was
now
like,
it's a joke.
I thought like for prostate cancer, you just like, I don't know, want to get rid of this stuff. Like,
Look,
Yeah, but it's raising awareness of it. Same as
so
Movember.
wouldn't I?
November does not stop you from getting any form of.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm saying if I was concerned about prostate cancer, wouldn't I just say, hey Neil, can you put on this glove for a second? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that kind of what we would?
it was an idea to raise awareness that the internet kind of took and just went with, and now the memes of like the can I just say the one thing that TikTok has done well is memes of No Nut November. It has been like the things of people like levitating and like 5 days in.
See, I feel like I've actually heard of that one. Because you talk about like transcendentalism, like fucking like tantra, like oh I'm amazing. It's like no, you just need to bust a nut, dude. You just gone delirious with too much, Anyways, moving on. It's too much semen. Too much semen. Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
I cursed this show, this episode, when I mentioned how we tangent too much. I reckon we're on about 50-50 games to tangent time. To be fair, I blame Scott because it's his job to keep us on track. Yeah, often I'm like, so Kingdom rolls anyway.
Moving on. Well, my brain started as a mushy piece of pancake or something. All right, so we finished the Kingdom rolls. An event totally is going to take place. Don't worry about what event that might be.
Scott, as a friend, can you make it a positive event?
All right, how about this? This is what I'll do.
Like, we get 1,000 soldiers, elves march in, and they say to us, like, we will honor the treaties of the past.
How about this? How about I just let you, Neil, my friends, Neil, buddy, pal, compadre, amigo.
Great friend, some might say.
Uh-oh.
Great friend.
It's
Why
a trap.
don't I let you roll me
It's a trap.
Why do I let you roll me a 1d20?
/ roll 1 e natural 20, baby.
Oh yes.
It's not a natural 20.
Oh yes.
What have you done?
The problem is we've not played, so like I need to get into gear with my rolling. So right now I'm like stuttering and struggling around in first gear.
What
So,
you're doing
this is
you're using
literally
this
called-
show as a warm up for your next one.
This is literally called.
Rude.
This is literally called London Skies. Is the name of the event that was rolled, which just makes me happy.
No.
Because Neil rolled
That
it.
sounds terrible.
Yep.
It sounds lovely.
Yep.
Sprite blue, warmest. Well, actually, I'm in the warmest part of England, but other than me, that's the warmest part of England.
Its phrase is consistently bad weather, season appropriate. Which, now that we've left February and gone into March,
Lots of rain.
Lots
Glorious.
and lots of rain.
So I'm a little bit of a medieval history aficionado. So right now we're setting up for Agincourt. We're having shit tons of rain. We're going to have the enemy come in and make it horribly boggy, and we will stand in a position that we actually need them to be on horseback. But anyway, it removes their horsey benefits. Because the field of battle is going to be so boggy and muddy, their heavy armor will.
So all of your soldiers that you're amassing armies with are going to be training in heavy rain, are going to be training in mud. They're going to be fighting against like athlete's foot rot. They're going to be fighting against influenza and even just the common cold. Transportation of goods from one location to the next is going to be slow. Your soldiers are going to be fatigued very easy. I mean, it's one of those things where London skies do not make good battlefields. That's why they fight them all abroad. It's like, hey, let's go to Africa. We'll murder everybody there. Or Australia, or, you know. United States is amazing, though. We do nothing wrong.
We do.
The weather is so bad.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this will give all of the soldiers training in this horrific weather amphibious.
Take the battle to the marshes, boys. This is home.
You just have like that scene with like the soldiers are traipsing through the marsh, and then just it like zooms in the background and like soldiers are like.
Effect of the party. Travel time for you guys is reduced by 25%. So not the worst, or a 25% increase in travel time, whatever. Not the worst, but the event effect on the kingdom is kind of not very nice. I do apologize about this one. It's a -2 across the board. It's a -2.
Ouch.
What the?
Effect.
This is worse than anything. Heavy rain is worse than. I'm sorry. As a Brit, I can't tolerate this. I love the rain. This would boost my morale.
I love the rain. The rain's great. It's awesome.
The rain is great.
We're such a happy people. That's why our parents give us hugs and say nice things to us all the time.
I will say, as an Australian, I can attest that as much as I love rain, rain can be like, oh, we have a drought. Oh yay, rain, and now floods.
Actually, I've got a way to explain it. Yesterday was my first day off in weeks. I spent the entire day off with my wife and daughter, and we had tons of plans, like go to a zoo, maybe drive out to Boston, go to the Museum of Science, so on and so forth.
And instead, Scott talked to me about.
But it was rainy and cold instead, so we just decided to stay home because of how cold and rainy it was when you have like a little one. And I got so bogged up from it being rainy and nasty and cold that Discord happened, and you're welcome. So if you look at the results of Discord last night, that is the effects of weather. Do you think loyalty or stability went down last night? I think it did. Moving on. Let's kind of get back into the nitty-gritty again, because we've been goofing for a bit. We're going to do monthly kingdom rolls, but it's important to know what we're going to be doing leading into it. So this is kind of the RP area. It doesn't have to be really RP. It's more like war council stuff that's going on. So you guys sent letters to your different... Excuse me. Oh, by the way, after the cat broke the dropped water on my computer, my wife got me a new one. So you guys sent letters to Leshev, to Varen, and out to the leaders of the free
Lord
folk.
Bellin and free folk, yeah.
You've had responses. The response from Varen was, "You came to us in our time of need, and we will honor our word. We will ride to you. You'll see us in a few weeks' time."
They're such good people. I'm glad we helped them. Even if we lose the fight, I'm glad we helped them. They deserve that.
They inform you that the horse lords will be sending horses. They will be sending, not only will they be bringing their own armies, the horse lords will be sparing as many horses as they can for free, but it won't be a lot. It's as many as they could possibly do for free, but they also are going to open their stables for you to pay to have horses sent over. The one thing that they are willing to do for you beyond sending of the horses, the armies, sending of so many horses just free of charge. Take these horses. Is that any horses you do need to arm your soldiers with? If you say we will pay for these horses, they will say, okay, and they will send the horses to you, and you can worry about settling with them later.
Ooh.
Nice.
So just kind of bear that in mind. And this is because you literally saved their town and so on and so forth, and the kindship that you guys showed to them, the diplomacy checks and whatnot that you did when they actually came to visit your nation beforehand. And I think it was Rayrin and One that did that one. I don't think Val was a part of that because I think he was currently being
Not before that.
held.
I showed up during the battle.
Yeah. Because he was a prisoner or whatever. Poor guy. All right. Moving on. Prisoner of life. No. So you that's Varen's response. I'll get to what they actually send over shortly. Loshev's response. It's a bit more of a measured response. They tell you that you are their allies. They're in commerce and trade, and they will ensure that supplies that you need will be transported to you, like post haste, like immediately. They will send supplies to you if you need them. And they inform you that they will be offering some degree of financial backing to the conflict. They, however, you guys very keenly picked up. It's one of those things where when what's his name, Leon reads it, he puts down the paper, a very measured and very slow settle down of the paper, like you're disappointed in your child for not getting accepted into that college, and it's one of those. They're not sending supports. It's like, oh, and Edric's like, no. It says that they're sending financial backing. They are not sending soldiers. They might as well just leave us high and dry. Take what we can from them, but it will be remembered what degree of aid they chose to and not to deliver in our time of need. And that's kind of like Leon's approach on it. I don't know how the party feels about it as well, but that's how Leon feels about it.
I think they should be sending troops. I thought we were in a defensive pact with them, so it's a bit strange that they're acting that way.
While we are in a defensive pact, we are talking about launching an assault. We are sending an army out of our kingdom.
Even if it is preemptive, it is still an attack, not defense.
Besides, once they see, if we win the initial conflict, I should imagine they would be far more likely to contribute troops. They want to make sure that they're on the winning side. Of course, they are traders first and foremost. You don't invest unless you're sure.
Arthur, who is kind of quiet for most of this meeting, obviously a lot of stuff happening other than what we had just said here. Arthur does finally speak up because, of course, he's a bit embarrassed by this, and he says, truth be told, I can tell by the writing on this letter here that this is likely written by Fox or one of his assistants. It seems as though it required even a degree of convincing to have them go as far as they are on this one. We can apply pressure on them if you'd like. I can absolutely reach out and apply the appropriate pressure and get more from them if you would like. Or we can wait until you think we need it. I'm just concerned as to whether or not it's going to be too late.
Wait. Once we've had our battle, our meeting on a field, we can speak to them then. Either we will write to them and beg for the need of troops to defend our city, or we will write to them to tell them of the victory we have succeeded and the aid that we will require to break the walls of Houtgwen.
Are we going to send any response? Are we going to put any degree of demand further, even if it's not for soldiers?
Thank them. If they would be able to spare a skilled craftsman or two for the production of armor or weapons, it would be greatly appreciated. And they would, of course, be kept as honored guests during their time in the city. Furthermore, stress to them that we, as their allies, will attempt to defend them from the oncoming hordes that Haldgren sends. Make some play on the word of, we will stop the tide. But if the dam does break, just allude.
If the dam does break, they would be the damned. Something along those. I'll think of something. I'll think of something.
It's a diplomatic missive, not a poem.
No. I got an idea. I'm gonna do this on iambic pentameter. Okay, yeah. And so he kind of takes
good
over.
idea.
It's like, so there once was a man from Nantucket who's actually, you know what? Never mind. It'll be a surprise. I just realized they're not American. They don't know that limerick. Should I say the limerick?
Actually, I have actually heard that one.
Do you remember how aggressive, how like intense it is?
Maybe not. I don't remember how.
Okay, Josh is telling me no. Josh is telling me no, so I won't do that one. All right, so moving on. The continuing with the game. So that was Leshev. That was Varen. Obviously, we know Rid's support.
Apparently, I don't know that one.
I'll give you a bleeped version. There once was a man from Nantucket whose was so long he could.
Oh, okay.
He'd lie out there in
I have
bed,
heard
giving
that
himself, and if his ear was up, he would it.
Yeah, no, now I remember that one, and it's one of those things where you hear the start of it and you don't think it's what it's going to be.
It's one of those things where usually here, especially in New England, because Nantucket's a Rhode Island, you just be like, there once was a man from Nantucket, and everybody's like, no, not that.
Now we just need Josh to take that sound file and then take just that little clip
Yes.
and then turn it into Darude Sandstorm.
Yes.
I still say the gif of me and you with the koala in the background.
Oh, no.
That koala, I warned you guys.
The constipated cub, black bear cub.
What got me the first time I watched is actually the first time I heard a koala was how deep it is. Like it doesn't something that small should not make a sound that like deep and guttural.
My wife says that too. No. Moving on. We're
You need to see a doctor.
all right, everybody. Welcome to the show. Let's keep going on. So that was Leshev and that was Varen. We know their response. Vigil sent no response because they're waiting for you to go to them. You weren't writing them letters. You were waiting to go to them. They're of course aware of what's going on, so on and so forth. And then you have Rid. Rid actually has a response too. However, it's kind of a strange thing where the spies come in, and when they go to see their leader, they actually find her with you guys. And she doesn't have a leadership role, mind you. And I can stat her out if you would like her as a potential advisor position. But I'm going to be 100% legit with you. She's a level 2 commoner. So,
Stand her out, boys.
So moving on.
We need a marshal.
Oh, God. So, go get him. She's like, all right, guys, you've been really bad. So, I'm going to come do things.
Nice.
Okay.
This is
Nice.
not the way I meant for it to go. I'm just going to keep pushing past. These spies come to you and start informing you, start coming to you with information.
Loyalty goes up.
I like how Tesh is like, that's bad, but...
It's one of those things where I was debating saying it, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it.
Wait, she's the marshal, right? We should protect her. Make sure she's wearing leather armor. We're laughing. Jake's dying. All right, moving on. So the spies end up coming in with information about Hardgwen, and they inform you that the creatures that were described to you beforehand did in fact appear and did in fact come and scoop just all this goop out of the rivers. They're just scooping the goop out of the
They were
rivers.
goop, scoop, goop.
And it had an effect of literally people just like abandoned their posts of where they were training, so on and so forth. People met by the rivers, blah 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 blah. All that stuff happens as Hodgwen was like, no, 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 no. As they were able to get their own water, their like clench hold on them was released. And so that was like the immediate response. However, Hodgwen doesn't just have its militia. It legitimately has an army too. And so they literally turned the army on their own soldiers and put them in line. And so their militia is still, though probably not as numerous as before, still capable of fighting. It's just much smaller than it otherwise would have been. And that's the news that you end up getting from the spies that are in there, that the unrest of that place is very, very high. But money is just being poured out of it as more and more is happening, et cetera, et cetera. But the spies end up giving you another tidbit of knowledge that you guys probably weren't entirely aware of. Astrad and Harad, they're also being recruited for soldiers. They actually have a good number of soldiers, are not just based there, but are being trained there as well, with preparation of coming across. Harad specifically is building a bridge across the river that it sits on the far side of. It's literally building a bridge so they can march their troops more easily. And that is going on as we speak right now. They did not necessarily witness all of this. They're going based off the information they were able to find in Hodgwen, some of it was stuff that they witnessed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? That's kind of where that goes. Neil, no response yet from your imp. It has to travel a good distance.
Even though that boy can fly?
Yeah, it has to travel a long distance, so no response yet from the imp. All right. After that is going to be...
for a month? Damn.
It's not been a whole month. It's been a couple weeks at this point.
Okay.
Here we go. After that is going to be... you do get a response from the free folk of... What's it called?
We just heard them being called the Free Folk. That's it.
Yeah, Free Folk of Adir, or Free Folk. Yep. So you do get a response because you're more or less reaching out to them. You know, we have an opportunity for employment for you. We would like to meet, sort of a thing, and they agree to meet with you, but they do not want to meet in your nation. They'll meet outside of it. But you kind of like from your council meeting, you guys, from what you can understand, if you were to even just go 1 or 2 hexes outside of Rid, they'd be willing to meet with you there. They of course, it's one of those things where speaking with Leon, speaking with Kithul, so on and so forth, you get the impression, go with soldiers, go with a small contingent of people, but you don't have to go with like, you know, a massive army. It's probably just like show that you have force to go and speak with them, sort of a thing, right? So, but they are willing to meet with you and see what your plans are, see what you're looking to get from them. And you're gonna want to know that information after you know the sizes of your armies, which you're gonna get to in a second. And lastly, you do get a response from what's his name, Lord Bellin. And he says, so you do get a response from Lord Bellin, but you don't get the response in the form of a letter. As a matter of fact, within a week and a half's time, I said in 2 weeks' time, whatever it is, he actually appears in Kurzfall. And so he looks to make counsel. He doesn't come immediately to the rulers here. He comes immediately to meet with Leon. You guys find out about this because Elliot's the one that informs you. Like, wow, that meeting's been going on for some time. What meeting? The meeting between Lander Bellin and what's his name? General Jaeger. And you're like, oh, there's a meeting going on between them? Because you had come in to speak with him. And they're having their meeting. Do you guys go to interrupt that meeting at all? Or do you allow it to take its full course?
There must be a reason why he didn't invite us.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
suggest we just let it run its course.
Yep. Out of character, I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to let the new Leon do this. In character, oh no, yeah, let Leon do this.
What's up with Leon? Leon's great. He's never done anything to compromise your trust in him.
Oh yeah, no. It's more
Shut up, Scott.
Ash is worried about the whole changing of faiths thing. Valorant is not.
I agree with you, Tesh, that people that worship Lady Aravel are people you should put trust in. People that potentially worship Vrogar are people you should probably be concerned about. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Fuck you.
Oh. All right, so moving on. Later on that day, we're talking many hours later on. Leon would come and to speak with you guys. It would be one of those situations where it wouldn't necessarily be all of you together. It'd be just like one or two of you. He'd come up to you and just kind of give the information. We've received a response from Lander de Bellin, the Lord of Yovance that I had informed you of. He actually arrived here earlier this day. I've already offered him stay inside the castle as a guest, in the castle, and he is looking forward to having a meeting with the with the triumvirate in the morning, with the chosen in the morning. That was me making a mistake, not Leon. Whoever may respond.
Sorry,
you said it was. You said it'd be someone.
Okay.
You made it so vague.
Sounds like it's Tesh.
Wait, no, okay, wait. Sorry. So, who is this again? Sorry, I'm trying to.
Leon telling you that Lander is here.
Yes, Lander.
It's
This is
Bellin-
me. This is
Lander-
my 3 a.m. brain trying to catch up.
That was me last night going, I should go to sleep right now. Let me just buy a couple more vagrants. Go ahead.
Let me zoom out here so I have some idea. So where's he from?
Josh, I'll see you in about 2 hours. So you he was a lord of Yovance. Anyways, he's just telling you he wants to meet with you guys in the morning. That's all. So unless you have an important response, we can just move on.
Wait, Yovance.
Yovance.
Yeah, just move on.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, I'll find out about that in a break.
Yep, you're fine. You don't
He's
recall.
an old rival of Leon's, basically.
Yeah.
But also friend / rival. He was
Oh,
mentioned
that's
last week.
right. No, now I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's the guy that's like is honorable.
Yes, exactly. Yep, all that. Cool. All right, so moving on. That's kind of like that's going to be done in the morning. So the morning you guys meet up, you know in the throne room. You actually brushed your teeth this morning, before the meeting. I see Neil's character as being somebody that walks around with orange Tic Tacs everywhere he goes, and he's going to be entered like announcing Lander de Bellin. I'm sorry, Lord Lander de Bellin is how they announce him. And it's one of those things, roll a sense motive as soon as he walks in the door.
Ooh.
How exciting.
Walk in the door.
Just stare down.
It's Valrin that
I'm
gets the
rolling so
impression,
well.
not the others. They're looking at this man.
I've stolen it.
They're looking at this man, and he's dressed all right. Let me just check something really quick.
I know Perrindale, so this makes sense.
There you are. Make sure to get something correct. So he is dressed all right. It's he wears leather armor. The leather armor has a bit of a wear to it. It's not like nobility leather armor where it's always pristine. Like it has some wear to it. His boots definitely show that he was on the road recently. He probably cleaned them yesterday, but still they're not like brand new boots. They show wear and tear. Even his cloak shows that it's been worn down. But the way that the man carries himself, everything about his, the way his shoulders are set, the firmness of his, like the look on his face, so on and so forth. All of that suggests that this is definitely a man who has either is a really good pretender or has a proper noble upbringing. Noble upbringing. So there's no question in your mind that he is a lord. Though I imagine, who is it, Rayrin that rode the worst? Who is that? Rayrin, for you, it's one of those things where you're like, a lord? Look at his boots, Like, it's kind of like you'd expect that he would be addressing the chosen, like the kings of the court, more or less. You'd expect that he would dress a little bit better than what looks like it could be an adventurer's outfit. Anyways, Valrin, you're the one that picks up when they announce him as Lord. You can actually see his face scrunches just the slightest bit. Like he almost winces slightly to it. But otherwise, he comes walking in. presents itself between the three of you. He does an appropriate bow. As a matter of fact, the same kind of bow that Kithul and a lot of your royal guard and whatnot have learned to do over the months. He does a bow that is damn near accurate, if not perfect, to what that bow is. So he's at least practiced in the way he presents himself, and says, "Chosen of Valoran, I like to thank you for the honor of extending an invitation to your home and a meeting to meet with the three of you. I genuinely appreciate it."
One would nod at him.
Thank you for traveling all this way on such short notice, Lord Bellum. You have come highly recommended from our mutual friend, General Jaeger.
Well, I'm not sure if you were informed of this or not, but the General and I spent some time yesterday, we'll say, catching up with one another.
We are aware.
It seems as though your nation here, Valoran, is a small and budding one, but one that I heard from where I was prior to arrival. And you find yourself in a bit of a difficult situation. You're reaching out to see if you could find anybody that might aid you in your, I suppose, coming days. I dare I say, the weather outside does mark the feeling that everybody seems to have within.
It is
British.
rather foreboding, yes.
Indeed.
Did you have any specific requests of me? Or is it simply the conversation that I had with General Jaeger?
Leon informs us that you're a man of some renown on the battlefield. As you might know, we have need of men such as you in our current situation.
I'm sorry to say this, but you may have been misinformed or misunderstood. As for renown on the battlefield, that is not true. I certainly did act as a commander over armies during a time of war. Unfortunately, the situation that I had found myself in was not very successful. In fact, I had found myself on a battlefield opposite General Jaeger. It cost me my lands, the life of my son, and my nobility.
Varen's doing what I'm doing with it. Doesn't know what to do with his hands right now. He's like, oh, this is awkward. Oh no.
It lingers like
One's
stale
like-
air.
One looks over to Rayron and is just like, yeah, like giving you those. You gonna say anything?
Well, we are sorry to hear of your losses,
It was some years
particularly
ago.
at the hands of our general.
Then he says it was some years ago. It was not directly the general that took the life of my son, simply misstep on a battlefield, a well-placed arrow by a far superior marksman. My son was my lieutenant. He was a good target to go after. I had been separated from him on the battlefield. We had been routed. It happens. I cannot blame General Jaeger. He did everything in his power to convince me to not fight that day. Nonetheless, when a man is fighting for his nation, he's willing to put much on the line. Sometimes you lose what you gamble.
Lord Lander, what do you believe the purpose in summoning you here was? Why did Leon suggest you came here?
Him and I spoke of this. Am I capable of commanding an army on the battlefield? Absolutely. Am I as capable as General Jaeger? I dare say there are few in all of Eroth that would be as capable as that man, and most of them serve the Paradel military, which is why Yovance is losing its lands, day in and day out. I was called here not because of my capabilities on the battlefield, but instead my capabilities with the people. I had a reputation when I was in Yavance. I was a noble, and I served my people. I served them well. I was to the benefit of all that lived under the lands that I controlled. Yavance is a different structure than I imagine you have here in Valoran. It's also significantly larger, which is probably why the structure was different. Nonetheless, the people always appreciated my rule, and I always appreciated my people. We had a symbiotic relationship that worked out. Leon called me here because he feels as though your nation is in a time of transition, where if things aren't played out well, you will fail. You need to have each one of your soldiers in the correct position on the battlefield. You don't place a sword in the hands of an archer and tell him to charge the line.
Actually, medieval history,
Of your best archer and tell him to charge the line.
Indeed.
So, you're saying you're not a good leader, but you're a good tactician.
Actually, the other way around. I might not be the best of tacticians, but I'm skilled at leading the people. It's Leon's opinion.
People, not army.
Correct. It's of Leon's opinion, and I do not know if I should be speaking for the general, but he is not here in this room right now. It is of Leon's opinion that you do not have the appropriate persons in their appropriate places. He thinks that I should be, with your approval, taking over the role of somebody else in your kingdom so that they may more adequately keep to their own forte.
So, open up Kingdom Tracker, just looking where people are. Well, no, we could indeed use more people to help with that side of things. Especially at this time. it's like finishes expecting someone else to keep talking. There's nothing. Is like, what? Are you okay there, Neil? Your lights just went out.
Oh, his camera does that sometimes.
Don't know what you're on about.
No, that wasn't his camera. That was his lights.
No, it's his camera.
Yeah, the camera does that sometimes. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Because if you actually look at the reflection of the his light in the window behind him, it looks like it stays constant. It's just everything gets dark for a second. Yeah.
It's the auto brightness.
It's actually what's her name? Chloe. She's strobing the light. She's like, "Come on, Neil." And he's like, "Oh, hey."
Presumably, Leon discussed with you the position he wished you to take. He has not done so with us.
I think he wanted to make sure that I was up for the challenge prior to going any further. I don't want to be stepping my foot where it does not belong. I might not even be seen as a person that is deserving of such a position. My life has changed considerably since I lost my son.
Rarian's going to stand up and take a few steps down. Speak plainly now. Lander, if you are to become part of the kingdom, there are certain stipulations and an oath you must swear. However, until that point, you are a guest, and you will be treated as such. Do not worry about what you might say. Unless it's particularly inflammatory, you won't be penalized for it.
The conversation that we had was about the position of the people. I have a relationship with the people. We've always gotten along well, at least the persons of Yavance, though I've spent many years in Adir. As I said, my life since I lost my lands. To be more accurate, I did not lose my lands. I chose to leave my lands because of how things had played out in Yavance. Since then, I've wandered the earth. I've wandered Aroth for some time. And found myself into Adir. I've actually lived as a citizen of Adir. If citizenry is an actual concept here, for some years now. I know the culture, I know the people. I lived among them. I dress the way I do before you today, not as a humble noble, but as a man who is simply a man. I was living in... oh, shit. And then
I do not know this place. You must tell me.
Oh
shit!
I was living in Harrod when the soldiers came on the scene. I gave a few bits of advice to the leadership of Harrod, and they didn't care to hear it from someone who is not of their own council. I chose, rather than stay and die for a place that does not want to fight for itself, to leave and move to Forvin. I've lived in Forvin for some months now, until the letter found its way to me. And then I walked here.
This war we are to face, we will undoubtedly be outnumbered. The people do not grasp this concept. Currently the kingdom stands upon the point of a knife. People do not grasp this concept. What counsel would you give me to have them know otherwise?
He thinks for a couple of seconds. The people of Adir, if nothing else, are stubborn. They are strong-minded. They like what they like. They choose their life and they don't want anybody to infect it. If I were to speak to the people of Adir and inspire them to like this routes that you're taking, I would play on their stubbornness. This is their home, and no one is to take their home. Paradel is different. They don't have the stubbornness. Perrin are known to move city to city, province to province, every few years or so. It's not unheard of. You don't generally have generations-long homes when you are dealing with a parent of Paradel. In Adir, this is my home for generations, and it will be for generations to come.
As you come on the recommendation of General Jaeger, I'm inclined to consider a position within our kingdom. That said, it will require the approval of the other two leaders here. Furthermore, should you agree, you will have to swear an oath to serve us and the kingdom, and you will be subject to our laws, all of them.
As it stands right now, I technically maintain the title of Lord, and I technically have lands that could be taken back as mine over in the lands of Yovance. I honestly do not have much skin in the game when it comes to this, but as part of taking this oath to you, would I be rescinding any claim that I have on my former title and lands in Yovance, and removing myself as a citizen of Yovancia? Not Yovancia. Woo! Of Yovance. Yovancia is a different place. It's actually where his lands currently are. Different place.
Rayon's going to take a few steps back up and sit down in his chair. I too am a citizen of Amulta. I too was a noble from there. However, it would be unbecoming of me to return there now and demand my family deliver my rights to me. I expect respect, renown perhaps, but I believe some chapters of our life must be closed and remembered fondly like a treasured book for us to write the new chapters.
It's considerable sacrifice. It's something I've been contemplating doing for some years now. There's much behind relinquishing my claim to it, but it's not something that I am opposed to.
Although I would not force you to relinquish your nobility, I would hesitate for you to still consider yourself a citizen. Conflict of interests there would be large indeed. Although I tell you now that we have no intention of acting against you, Vance. Obviously, we are far too small to even consider any such action. We must command loyalty from those who serve the kingdom.
I have no loyalty any longer to the nation of Yavance. Simply to certain few persons there, as I imagine you must still to certain persons back in Malta. It is not of a fealty. It is not a fealty that I swear, but simply love to family and friends. Personally.
As a man who also comes from a country beleaguered by the politics of war, I can respect that. And I can promise that in my position, not on behalf of the other two, but in my position, should those loved ones come here, I would endeavor to protect them.
He nods, because appreciating the sentiment of what you're saying, and says, perhaps one day a door need be opened for an old friend. But I imagine that day will never come.
Raymond would look at the others and say, what do you think?
I think I agree with you. I too left at least much smaller amount, but at least something behind. I think what you put forward was appropriate.
One just silently nods. just gives a little head nod at Rayron.
It's more of a nodding off.
I like the idea of like he starts to snore and Baron just with his staff poke.
Places a curse on him.
Baleful pull him off.
Turns into a koala.
Oh my god. In that case, Lord, I would ask that you begin serving immediately and swear your oath here and now unless you require time to think. These are pressing times and time is of the essence. Therefore, we'll move to swear you now and have a ceremony for the people, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps in a few days. This way that you can begin working as quickly as possible. You will have to work with our current counselor, Elliot, to assume his positions. He will be overjoyed, I assure you, to endeavor more into his real passion. He's been doing this as a favor for us. However, it would be good to have a man of the people assume this position. However, you are new and tried and untested. I have faith in Leon's judgment. I would ask that you work with me for the first month. I will do my best not to hinder you, and I will also be considering my other role. However, should you require guidance, then I will be available.
I think, in fact, it's the Chosen of the Blade that has that spell. Just kidding.
Oh god, you genuinely had.
I was like, what the fuck? Oh, it's guidance. I was like,
my god, that.
Oh,
It
sorry.
took me way too long to realize. I'm sitting there just like, what?
He says he nods, he bows. You can see he's thinking about like, is this the end of the meeting? And then he gets like a look on his face. He says, I did have one inquiry before we take another step forward.
Please.
Is it true what I've heard happens to the counselor that currently sits in the position?
What has
have you
happened
heard?
to him?
Nods again. He appreciates that you guys were. You could tell again with your 22 insight or whatever it was that you rolled. You can tell he appreciates the honesty in it.
We both asked.
I think Jake
asked?
answered, and we both asked.
Yeah, we both asked. Jake said, "What have you heard?"
Oh, you asked. Oh, sorry, you asked a question. Oh, I thought you said
Yeah.
it has happened.
No,
thought
he
you
said,
answered.
"What have you heard?" And I said, "What has happened?"
Yeah,
Because
so essentially-
you said the
Oh,
wrong tense.
my
and I was
apologies.
confirming
My apologies.
because you said like, "What happens?"
I said what happened, I think, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Semantics. So he is. He said, at one point in time, he was captured, and everything that goes along with that.
It is true, but it is also true that we made quite an effort to get him back and made an example of those who took him.
Truth be told, we were lucky to get him back, but there's responsible. He glances towards one, appropriately punished. Elliot is a good man, and what they did to him, and what Forvin did to him, goes against the rights of an emissary.
The idea
It's
that.
actions.
God, you keep going.
It's actions such as these that have driven us into the conflict with Haldgren.
The idea that such a transgression would have brewed in Forvin is genuinely surprising. But all of us that choose to take this, to wear this mantle, swear an oath to the people that we serve and that serve us. And with the luxuries that we live come certain responsibilities that we must undertake, and, well, certain consequences that sometimes come that we didn't necessarily see brewing. I hope the man is well, and I hope to serve the people equally as good, if not better than he could.
Thank you, Ballard. Now, if you would not mind, we would swear an oath. At which point, perhaps we could have something to eat and I could show you around the city. Get you acquainted. We could meet Elliot as well. It would assist in beginning moving things along.
He nods and says, please, did you, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which
really
it
need to
stands,
make one of
one
these,
nation
like, official
under,
things for people
I'm
to
actually an atheist, but under three gods, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all. Amen.
That's so weird that you guys do that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that
I haven't done the pledge.
Yeah, but you know it.
Of course, we have to do. It's mandated in school.
That is weird.
Yeah, and
I used to get in trouble because.
literally my point.
I gotta say. So it's not mandated, but it is by some schools. It's not mandated legally, but like I used to sit down during the pledge and I get in trouble. So I either get sent to the if I didn't feel like getting in too much trouble, I just stand there. You know?
I have an issue with that, like that kind of patriotism, because that's not
To be
that's
fair-
not actual patriotism.
Yeah,
That's-
forced patriotism, like
Yeah.
what socially goes on at like football games and whatnot, even though it's not legally, what socially goes on at football
Like,
games it feels very North Korea. I agree with you.
Yeah, I really don't like that.
Yeah, no.
I agree with. I think it's more patriotic to have patriotism but not have it be without like questions, without like, hey, we can fix this, we can make this better. And it's like, no, we are the best.
No. Forced patriotism is not, again, not legally, but like societally forced
It feels
patriotism.
really brainwashy.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Again, like what happens at like football games, every single solitary sporting event that happens in our nation, every single solitary time, they sing the national anthem and prostrate themselves before the flag. It's like, dude, you're throwing a ball. Like, why the fuck do you have to make love to a goddamn bit of cloth before you throw a goddamn? But it makes no sense. Do you know who does that? North Korea. You know, like, at least when like you guys play your football, at least it's multiple nations playing each other. So it's like, okay, I get that.
It's
I get
football.
that. Football. We have football.
Moving on.
No, you have handball that you apparently play as football.
I agree with you, Josh. What it is assuming direct control. All right, so
Yes.
Korean football. All right, so sports ball. So you guys, he of course gives the oath because you can clearly tell he has no love for Lady Arabelle Dark Eyes, and it's one of those things where and he gives an oath to the chosen, the people of Valoran, and so on and so forth. He doesn't have to swear fealty to any of your gods, so that doesn't fucking matter either way. So he does it no problem, and you go about with him, and you walk and you speak with him. One of the things that you're going to get the impression of from this man is, whereas Leon is a dedicated, heavily minded person, Leon is very much I have a goal, I need to accomplish this goal, and every step I take is a step towards accomplishing that goal. Everything is kind of like, there's a place for everything, and everything is in its place. Let's walk the appropriate path to get there, the least amount of steps possible. It's clearly him. This man, while also being an older gentleman who has served as like a noble and also as a commander for some period of time or whatever, is not like that at all. He's very much I have a task and I'm going to be successful at my task. I'm going to be, I have to take care of the people and I'm going to take care of the people. But beyond that, he seems very removed. Like, you'll point out things like architecture, this, that, and the other thing, and he'll give the humorous, like, looking at what you're gesturing towards, a nod and smile. If prodded for a response, he'll deliver a relatively short response. But you can tell it's more because his mind is elsewhere, and he's going through the steps of what needs to be done. So he's, of course, respectful in every way, without necessarily genuinely caring. You know what I mean? Like, he understands that it matters to you, and he respects that, but he doesn't necessarily care about those details.
Yeah.
Kind of like the vibe you get off of him as you spend time with him. Rayrin and Valrin. I imagine one is like, I got better people to hang out with.
Yeah, of course, one's like that.
I got like 2 or 3 better people to hang out with. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, anyways, that's how that goes. Let's go on to, because that's it. So we're placing people in positions we'll do when we get to our next kingdom roll.
Did the free folk get back to us?
They did. They said they want you to meet with them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, and you're going to do that. So let's talk. The last thing I wanted to do before we did that, remember, was to talk about armies. So go back to your kingdom tracker, and you're going to see a new page appear called Armies.
Too many
Oh,
pages.
good
Oh, Jesus.
Oh no, this is what I looked at before. I'm like, this is a lot.
You saw this before?
No, the sheet you you sent to the
burn
Discord
one.
was.
Burn two.
Oh,
it
gotcha.
this?
Yeah. Well, it was. I had to custom make it myself for the Kingdom Tracker. So Hinta arrives at some point in time, and Hinta arrives with an army of 200 mounted soldiers, that are directly under her command. But she actually arrives with a total of 300 mounted soldiers, just because the way the armies work. The other one counts as so she arrives with 300 mounted soldiers and 100 horses that have no mounts. No soldiers upon them.
It doesn't explicitly say the number of soldiers under their command. I know this is a commander page, but I can't see a number.
My apologies. To be clear, are you looking at the one called Armies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see a number either.
What you're looking at is size. Size medium.
Large.
Large is 200. Medium is 100.
Oh, okay. So they have
Okay,
specific
yeah,
sizes.
okay.
Okay.
Correct. So Hinta has a large army that she's going to directly control. She's like, this is my army. I'm controlling them. But I brought another 100 soldiers. We need a commander. If you don't have a commander, I will make a generic commander for it, which is just kind of like zeros across the board, which is fine. But if you guys have a commander you want to give that army, Varen 2, then you're welcome to do so. Vaku's army is currently listed there for you. His Rogus army, that Vaku is currently in command of. Once again, Vaku is currently in command of them. In theory, 3 could take over that army as well.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that's what happens.
Neil, go ahead.
Vaku isn't exactly the commanding type with his -1.
So thank you, Neil.
Oh god.
I assume that's Neil doing it.
No, I clicked on things and made extra things. And I was like, what am I doing?
It's me. It's not you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's Neil. Then there is obviously the people of Valorant are going to come together and make their army, and you guys are able to pretty quickly amass 600 peoples are going to be able to serve for you, maybe even more that your population grew. So I also set that into 2 groups just based off a quick conversation that Neil and I had. None of this is set in stone. So assuming the huge army
I like it.
is under General Leon Yeager, that's 500 soldiers, serve under him, and all the abilities that he provides for his army.
Yeah, having him as the main fighting force is a good idea.
And then you have Rayrin. I currently has as, the auxiliary army of Valorant, which is the again you can rename these 100 soldiers. And then obviously when you get to meet with Vigil, you'll see that they're going to have an army of 1,000 soldiers, gargantuan size.
Oh, damn.
But we're going to get to the fun little RP part of that afterwards. So, first things first.
Their entire town just walks out. They just lock the door on the way out.
So the what is the term? Unexceptional commander. That's awesome, Norway. All right, so this is what ends up happening. Hinta arrives at 400 horses, 300 of them with soldiers on their backs. That's what she provides for you. That gives you 100 mounts that I just conversation with Neil retrofitted already to the auxiliary army of Valorant. Just so that you have. Okay, cool. All 400 of your mounts are currently spoken for. Those 2 armies, in theory, can converge and become one army. You have Vaku, you have Cedric, and you have General Leon Yeager. Do you have any questions about these armies, what they mean, so on and so forth? Any questions about these character sheets? There's a bunch of shit on there.
Nope.
Because these kind of act like NPC stat sheets.
Not for me. I'm afraid I'm okay on that.
Tash and Jake.
I'm good.
Sorry, say again?
Oh, barking dog. I think I'm having a table be delivered. Can you give me 2 seconds? Actually, you know, it's been an hour. Why don't we take a quick break and let you guys absorb this? We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Bye.
So we're currently sitting on a force of